Hello, Grace Family Church Online community. It is so great to be with you today. And I just want to say, if you haven't been on this platform before, we just want to say a huge welcome to any newcomers if this is your first time here with us today. My name is Michelle and I take care of the online community, and it is my greatest pleasure to do this. And today with us we have Wes. Wes, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Wes. I'm from digitalcampus, and thank you, Michelle. It's always a privilege to be here with you guys and to be able to share in this platform and continue to do the amazing work that you guys are doing in the digital space. Last week, you have known we hosted the Drive conference here in Grace, and we had Sama share with us, and it was an incredible message. And we just want to encourage you that if you've missed that, please go online, check it out, and I'm sure you're going to be inspired and encouraged in that space.
So if you're wondering what we're talking about, we had a Drive conference that really connects us and brought us to become a part of the ICN, which is the Irresistible Church Network. And I just even love that word irresistible, because isn't that what church should be? Yeah. And so here at Grace Family Church, we were so excited that we were able to host the first Drive conference in Africa, where leaders and pastors and elders could be inspired and equipped and refueled to go back to their churches, knowing we are all connected and committed to creating irresistible churches. Yeah. And what does that really mean? Well, it means churches where unchurched people love to attend. Yeah. Isn't that beautiful?
It was so awesome meeting new people and sharing in that time together. Well, today we start a new series which is called If I Could Be Anything. So won't you watch this bumper, and Ramon will be sharing with us.
Please just tell me who you are and what you like to do.
I'm Victoria.
My name is Malachi. I like to play soccer. This one I wrote. The funniest page for me, it's the page that says, "Where's the toilet on the moon?"
Look, it's popcorn.
Please tell me about your unicorn. Why did you bring it?
Cause sometimes I'm scared.
Is there anything you want to tell us?
It's my birthday next week.
Okay.
Have you ever noticed how we all seem to be in this endless game of comparing ourselves to others? It's like we're on this reality show where the person with the best life wins. Who has the better job, the biggest house, the most followers? And it seems that we learn to get into this game quite early on in life. Studies have shown that by the age of 4, 90% of children have grasped the concept of lying. A 2002 study conducted by the University of Massachusetts discovered that 60% of adults cannot have a 10-minute conversation without lying at least once. A study by Scientific America found that 90% of people who date online lie in their profiles. What do they lie about? Well, ladies lie mostly about, take a guess. That's right, their weight. Most men lie about, what would you guess? Their height. I didn't see that one coming. Social comparison theory proposed by Leon Festinger, and I think I got his name right, suggests that people determine their own self-worth based on how they compare to others. In a world where comparison is prevalent, honesty becomes crucial for authentic self-assessment. But here's what we all know about comparison, is that comparison leads to a lack of compassion. How do we know this? Because think about it for your own life. It leaves us feeling either superior or inferior to others, ultimately influencing how we then treat one another. So we're in this game, right? But what if I told you that this game is rigged? That the real victory comes not from comparing ourselves to others, but from being honest about who we are. What if there was a different way to live? One where the scoreboard absolutely doesn't matter. In one of Jesus' most notorious teachings, known as the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus draws these contrasts between what society does and what we should do to live a fuller, more meaningful life. In a world full of comparison, hate, disappointment, and greed, Jesus comes and teaches us to be honest and kind, and faithful and generous. Jesus gives us a radical new way to live, not by measuring ourselves against each other, but by being true to who God has made us to be. And here's what we so often miss, is that being honest in a world of comparison is actually a game changer. You see, Jesus begins his sermon with words that seem to contradict each other. He says stuff like, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth." Now, most of us would hear those words, and most of us would not consider being poor in spirit or being in mourning or being meek or humble the ultimate picture of blessing. Especially when I'm playing a comparison game. No. Blessed by our culture, by our standard, would be rich in spirit, would be celebrating life, would be outgoing. None of this humble stuff and poor in spirit stuff. No. But what Jesus is saying here is that God's way of living usually contradicts society's way of living. If you want to live a full and whole life, then that's what God offers through doing life His way. It's being willing to give when others take, to love when others hate, to help when others abuse. So Jesus says, God bless those who are humble, for they will inherit the earth. God bless those whose hearts are pure, for they will see God. I love the way that Eugene Peterson translated it when he said it this way: you're blessed when you're content with just who you are. No more, no less. That's the moment you find yourselves proud owners of everything that can't be bought. You're blessed when you get your inside world, your mind and your heart put right. Then you can see God in the outside world. See, Jesus shifts focus from the superficial to the substantial, from the temporal to the permanent. Moments later, Jesus says this to his followers. He says that they should not make all kinds of big promises, but instead just live an honest life. He essentially says to them that, the prophets of old told them to keep the oath that they have made, but he comes and says, I'm telling you, don't even make an oath. Don't make an oath to this or an oath to that. No. No. He says this. He says, just say a simple, yes, I will, or no, I won't. Anything beyond this is from the evil one. Ultimately, what he's saying is, live a straightforward, honest life. Let your yes be your yes. Let your no be your no. Why? Because there's a simplicity that comes from living an honest life, isn't there? My grandfather, Ramon Changuion, he was known as an honest man by all his friends and family and colleagues. And he used to say to his children and later on to his grandchildren, he used to always say this: if you always tell the truth, you never have to remember what you said. If you always tell the truth, you never have to remember what you said. Isn't there just simplicity to that? When we live honestly, we live authentically. We live light. Not constantly doing these like mental gymnastics to try and remember conversations and motivations and actions and all kinds of stuff. No. Now, I don't know about you, but I tend to get a little nervous around people who make big promises. It's like they're trying to convince me that they're going to keep their word. I'm far more at ease when people just say yes or no. And that's what Jesus says. He says, just let your yes be your yes and your no be your no. It was Zig Ziglar who said, with integrity, you have nothing to fear since you have nothing to hide. Now, ultimately, Jesus talks about the blessing. Remember, blessed are those who? He talks about the blessing of living from a point of purity. Is my motive pure? And the significance and simplicity of honesty. And this is what an honest life looks like. And to live an honest life is to live a deeper life, a more connected life. And Jesus shows us that the path to freedom isn't found in measuring up to others, but in being honest. Honest with others, honest with ourselves, and honest with God. And I believe this is demonstrated so beautifully through Jesus' interaction with a man by the name of Zacchaeus. And here's how the Apostle Luke captures this account of this interaction between the two. He says, Jesus entered Jericho and made his way through the town. There was a man there named Zacchaeus. He was the chief tax collector in the region, and he'd become very rich. Now, something that I need to just pop in here is that Zacchaeus would have been regarded as a traitor to his people. See, he would have bought the rights to tax his own people on behalf of Rome so that he could add his own tax on top of their tax and make a profit off his own people. So you can imagine how popular he would have been in town. And normally, the taxes that the Jewish tax collectors would add on would be exorbitant. Luke continues. He tried to get a look at Jesus, but he was too short to see over the crowd. Maybe Zacchaeus was one of those guys who lied about his height on his dating profile. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore fig tree beside the road. For Jesus was going to pass that way. When Jesus came by, he looked up at Zacchaeus and called him by name. Zacchaeus, he said, quick, come down. I must be a guest in your home today. Zacchaeus quickly climbed down, took Jesus to his house in great excitement and joy. But the people there, they were displeased. He's gone to be the guest of a notorious sinner, they grumbled. And let's be honest, Zacchaeus was definitely a notorious sinner. His dishonesty was well known amongst the people. It goes on. Meanwhile, Zacchaeus stood before the Lord and said, I will give half my wealth to the poor. Lord, and if I've cheated people on their taxes, I will give them back 4 times as much. And Jesus responded. He says, salvation has come to this home today. For this man has shown himself to be a true son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and to save those who are lost. I love this story. I love this interaction between Jesus and Zacchaeus because I think it shows us so much about our own lives. You see, Zacchaeus hid in a tree, which I feel reflected the fact that he had hid all kinds of things in his own heart. And then Jesus comes along and calls him out, but he calls him out in love. He doesn't say, hey, you rotten scoundrel, come here. No, he looks at Zacchaeus and he says, I must be a guest in your home today. What an honor. He calls Zacchaeus out of his tree that ultimately leads Zacchaeus to be willing to call himself out of his own dishonesty and into a life of freedom. You see, this moment with Jesus led to Zacchaeus acting in a restorative manner. What did Zacchaeus say to Jesus? He said, hey, I'll give half of my wealth to the poor, Lord. And if I have cheated people on their taxes, I'll give them back 4 times as much. We can see a complete heart change step in there. See, Jesus' response to this heart posture, to this honesty shown by Zacchaeus is salvation has come to this man and to this home today. There is a weight that's been lifted from this man and from this household. This man now walks light. You see, guys and ladies, I hope that today we can also grasp that self-honesty leads to self-awareness. When I can be honest with myself, I can be aware of all kinds of stuff that I might be oblivious to otherwise. And that self-awareness, that it also leads to maturity. Now, you might find yourself right now in a place where you're struggling with relationship. And maybe it's because you've not been able to be honest with yourself. Being unaware of yourself ultimately leads to behaving immaturely in relationship and causes all kinds of fractures. Now, I get that you might be watching today and you're not 100% sure about the whole Jesus aspect of all of this, and I get it. I do believe that by paying attention to this aspect of self-honesty, that it can still lead to self-awareness, maturity, and ultimately relational health. I would, however, encourage you to lean into the Jesus aspect of it because I believe that Jesus comes and transforms relationship. So, why does any of this matter? Well, honesty matters because it's the foundation of trust and healthy relationships. Without honesty, we're left with superficial connections, with hidden insecurities. Ultimately, Jesus knew this, which is why he calls us to speak plainly and to live truthfully. That's why he said, just say a simple yes, I will, or no, I won't. These words of Jesus are profound. These words of Jesus ultimately cut through the noise of our culture's comparison game. It's a call to straightforwardness and integrity. A reminder that we don't need to pretend to be something that we're not. No. Living honestly is not just about avoiding lies. It's about living in a way that builds trust with others and, if you're a Jesus follower, reflects the very character of God. So, for a moment, think about Zacchaeus, a man who spent his life comparing and competing, yet found freedom in a single moment of honesty with Jesus. may I suggest that for you and for me both, that we need to come down from our proverbial tree of comparison and meet Jesus with honesty and start living light. What does that look like? Well, it starts by being honest with yourself. I can't be honest with anyone else until I'm willing to be honest with myself. Where have you been caught in this comparison trap? Acknowledge it and ask God to help you see yourself as He sees you, fully loved, fully accepted, without the need to compare. And then, once you've been honest with yourself, be honest with God. Tell Him where you're at. Tell Him what you're struggling with. Ask Him to help you in these areas, and He will. And so once you've been honest with yourself and you've been honest with God, then be honest with those around you. I need to say this, that the Apostle Paul tells us to speak the truth in love. Speak the truth in love. You see, honesty is valid, but so is love. And we need wisdom when we're being honest. If you feel like I'm being vague, let me try and clarify. I have a 7-year-old son. Said 7-year-old son told someone recently that they are fat in the presence of his mom. My wife wanted to die right there, crawl under the table, and pray for the rapture. What ended up happening was this led to conversations that we've subsequently had with our son. Now we're teaching him this. We're saying to him, my boy, if what you're about to say to a person isn't something that they can change about themselves in 30 seconds or less, then don't say it. If there's spinach in their teeth, there flies down, something like that's going on, they can fix it right there in the moment. But if it's something that they can't change in 30 seconds, oh boy, you don't need to say it. You see, it comes back to that thing that Jesus spoke of right at the start in the Sermon on the Mount, with what is my motive with my honesty? Will it make me feel better and hurt the other person, but it's okay, at least I've been honest? Or will it lead to health and wholeness in their lives? Because that's the motive. So, speak the truth in love. So what are practical steps that you and I can take this week? Well, maybe focus on being honest in your conversations. Whether it's a simple conversation or maybe it's a difficult truth that you're wrestling through. Let your words be clear and your intentions be pure. Practice saying what you mean and mean what you say. Or maybe today as you've been listening, you recognize that this comparison thing is actually the big thing. Like that's the real wrestling match for you. Then maybe this week, take a break from social media or anything else that triggers the comparison game for you. Instead, spend that time reflecting on who God created you to be, your unique gifts, your God-given qualities. Maybe write them down and thank God for who He made you to be. Focus on that for a bit. Why is any of this important? Well, if we keep playing the comparison game, we'll always feel like we're falling short. But when we embrace honesty and authenticity, we discover true freedom and joy in being who God created us to be. Right at the start, Jesus began this sermon with words that seemed to contradict each other. But God's way of living usually contradicts society's way of living. If you want to live a full and whole life, then that's what God offers through doing life His way. You must be ready to say and do what seems strange at times. In other words, you must be willing to give when others take, to love when others hate, to help when others abuse, to speak the truth in love. See, that is what an honest life looks like. To live an honest life is to live a deeper life, a more connected life, a whole life. Let me pray with you. Father God, I thank you that as we've just looked at the truth of the words of Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount, Lord, the heart posture that you offer to us for our daily lives, to step out of this element of comparing ourselves to others, and to rather just step into a space of honesty, being honest with ourselves, being honest with you, being honest with others, that we can live from a point where we know that we are loved, that you love us. Lord, that we can live from a point that we can live full and light lives as we live honest lives. And as folks are just thinking through everything that we've spoken through this morning, Lord, I thank you that if there are areas in life where we're struggling right now with regards to honesty and how to work that out, I thank you that we can come back to the simplicity of the words of Jesus, where he said, let your yes be your yes, your no be your no. Thank you that we can live from this simple space, that we can live a light life in you. We pray it in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
You know, if I had to ask the question, if I could be anything, I don't think I would have come up with real victory comes from living honestly. But after hearing Ramon, I feel like I just want to be intentional this week about living with a heart posture of honesty and to love a deeper, more connected life in Jesus and with others. It was quite challenging, and I'm going to have to say that a couple of times and really let it sink deep. I hope that it lands for you in a way that you can practice this week, living more honestly.
Yeah, that's very challenging, Michelle. Thank you for that. We're going to enter another part in our service now where we're able to bring our tithes and offering. And it's another way for us to be honest with God and say, God, with everything that we have, we trust you with that. And so with that, we just want to surrender our lives and also in our area of finances, which at times can be tough. But with that, we just want to bring that and be honest with you and trust you, God, with what you have to do with what we want to do in our own lives with that. So on the screen you're going to see some banking details, there'll be codes you can scan and you can give in that manner, and we're going to get into a time where we're going to be able to give in that way. And then straight after that we're going to be able to sing, and that's another way of worship where we can just surrender with our words, with our thoughts and our minds, just to surrender to God in worship and in song.
Eternal spark, I call you healer. You can mend any broken heart. I call you faithful Father. You finish everything you start. My soul was made to respond. I know you by 1,000 names, and you deserve every single King forever, the beginning and the end. You are Lord and servant. You're the Son of Man. You're the Lion of Judah. You're the risen Lamb. You're the second Adam, here to lead us home. You are Yahweh's glory, now revealed in flesh and bone. You are ocean potter, you will make a way. You are death defeater, you have risen from the grave. You are full of mercy, you are rich in love. You are Jesus, Messiah, the one true God. I know you by 1,000 names, and you deserve every single one. You've given me a million ways to be amazed at what you've done, and I am lost in wonder at all you do. I know you by 1,000 names, and I'll sing back to you, I'm singing back to you, God.
Wow, that was such an incredible time of worship. And for those of you who love to worship in this manner, the hosts are going to put a link for our playlist that will come up in the chat section. And so if you want to continue in this act of worship, you can do so wherever you are at this time.
Yes, or play the list in your car during the week or in your kitchen while you're cooking.
Yeah.
And just a reminder, if you're new online, some things you might have missed, you can go onto our Facebook community page and you'll find the prayer course there. You'll find the 31-day prayer journal. And I just want to say again that if you need prayer, it's a beautiful part of my ministry that I love. I would love to pray for you and with you if you need prayer. So you can contact me, Michelle, michelle@grace.org.za.
Yeah, you don't want to miss Michelle's prayers. It's really good. But it's always great to be with you guys online, and it's really a privilege to be here. So don't forget that if this message really impacted you, just to like, share, and subscribe in this way, and then you'll be able to help other people hear the message that I've shared today.
Yeah, I'm always excited about this online church space because we connected in such a global way, yet we don't really get a chance to see each other. But let's embrace being part of a church that everyone loves to attend, even online. Isn't that beautiful? So you have a great week, and think of who you're going to invite to come and sit with you next week.
To whoever may need this nugget of encouragement, things will be alright, so quit your worrying. I get it, the odds seem stacked back against the wall, but even consider it such, know you'll stand tall. Sat and watch from the sidelines one too many times. Wicked games we play make me wanna lose my mind. Found solitude knowing it'll be over soon. Ever need a boost, count on me for the 1-2. Trouble don't last when the tough get going. Baby, all we do is win, so show me my opponent. Adversity, doubt, stress, could care less, cause how we handle those like an S on our chest. Super proud of how we held it down on the way up. Can't wait for our day to ball, this is a layup. Nobody ever said this would be easy, but trust when I say that you got it. I know you've been looking for a breakthrough, trying our best to make do. Every day is something new, but change gon' come, oh yes it's true. Brighter days are straight ahead. Follow me, won't be misled. Just look up, don't hang your head, and we'll get to the promised land. Somebody loves you, please don't forget such. Take your time, no need to feel rushed. We gon' shine somehow one day. Word to O'Shea, today's been a good day. Don't let one bad apple spoil the tree. The fruits of our labor seem ripe, can't you see? A little insight so they'll never dim your light. Been wrong for too long, this here feels so right. Leave your fears in the rear view, right now on the mission. Trying to stay the course on this road to redemption. Giving up seems tempting, but no need, cause I got you and you got me. A little you and ITY will get us by. Through the storm and the rain, I'll be by your side. Look alive, the best has yet to come. Just some words of wisdom, plenty more. I know you've been looking for a breakthrough, trying our best to make do. Every day is something new, but change gon' come, oh yes, it's true. Brighter days are straight ahead. Follow me, won't be misled. Just look up, don't hang your head, and we'll get to the promise, yeah. And it may seem like things ain't working out, but I know we gon' find a way without a doubt. Just hold on a little longer, you gon' see this through. I've been there, certain things always remain.